In 1945, Britain emerged from war victorious but scarred. The economy was shattered, and almost 1 million homes were destroyed. Factories needed workers. The new NHS needed doctors and nurses. The country faced a choice: from where would the people come? The answer was immigration, and over the next 80 years, more than 10 million people would make Britain their home. The Windrush generation. The first great wave began in 1948, when the Empire Windrush arrived carrying 492 passengers from the Caribbean. Over the next 15 years, around 160,000 people from Jamaica, Trinidad, Barbados, and other islands would settle in Britain. They worked as bus drivers, nurses, and factory hands. By 1961, 1 in every 3 nurses in London hospitals had been born overseas. They also brought new sounds and styles, ska, reggae, calypso, and laid the roots of what would later become Britain's Black British culture. But this story was not without pain. Signs reading, "No blacks, no Irish, no dogs," were common in boarding houses. Racist attacks and housing discrimination shaped daily life for many new arrivals. Then it was time for more immigration. In the 1950s and 60s, Britain also turned to South Asia. Recruitment drives brought workers from India, Pakistan, and later Bangladesh. By 1971, the South Asian population in Britain was around 500,000. Many worked in textiles in Leicester, Bradford, and Manchester. Others opened the corner shops and curry houses that became lifelines for their communities. Food became a cultural bridge. In 2001, chicken tikka masala was famously described as a true British national dish. But politics was changing. Immigration numbers rose from around 30,000 a year in the 1950s to more than 70,000 a year by the 1960s. Enoch Powell's notorious "Rivers of Blood" speech in 1968 reflected fears of a country that some thought was being transformed too quickly. Time for some control and resistance. The government responded. The 1962 and 1968 Commonwealth Immigration Acts ended automatic entry for Commonwealth citizens. But at the same time, the Race Relations Acts of 1965, 1968, and 1976 made racial discrimination in housing, jobs, and public services illegal. Britain was both closing the door and trying to build a fairer society. By 1981, the census recorded 3.5% of the population as non-white, up from virtually zero in 1945. That same year, the Brixton riots erupted, a symbol of anger at racism, unemployment, and policing. Then there was Europe and the 2000s transformation. The next great wave came not from the Commonwealth, but from Europe. In 2004, the EU expanded to include Poland, Hungary, and 7 other countries. Britain, unlike France or Germany, allowed immediate free movement. The result was historic. Between 2004 and 2011, around 1 million Eastern Europeans came to the UK. By 2011, the Polish-born population had risen from 75,000 to over 600,000 in less than a decade. Immigration surged overall, from an average of 50,000 net migrants per year in the 1980s, to 200,000 a year by the 2000s. By 2011, 13% of the UK population was foreign-born, compared to just 4% in 1951. And then the backlash and Brexit. Immigration was no longer just about economics, it was political dynamite. The 2010 saw the hostile environment policy designed to make life harder for undocumented migrants. But it also led to the Windrush scandal, in which legal Caribbean-born residents were wrongly detained or deported. At the same time, the scale of EU immigration fueled public anger. The 2016 Brexit referendum was won, in part, by the promise to take back control of Britain's borders. And that was when the small boats and the Channel crossing crisis happened. In recent years, a new image of immigration has dominated headlines. Small boats crossing the English Channel carrying mainly young Muslim men aged between 21 to 35. In 2018, just 299 people made the crossing. But by 2022, that number had exploded to 45,774, the highest on record. By 2024, around 36,800 people arrived on small boats, a 25% increase from 2023. In 2025, the numbers surged again. By mid-August, more than 50,000 migrants had crossed since Labour came to power, a 48% increase on the previous year. The journeys have become deadlier too. In 2018, an average boat carried 7 people. By 2025, that number had jumped to 54 per vessel, dangerously overcrowded. In 2024 alone, at least 82 migrants died trying to cross, making it the deadliest year so far. Since 2018, over 247 lives have been lost in or near the channel. The nationalities tell their own story. Afghans, Syrians, Iranians, Eritreans, and Sudanese make up nearly 60% of arrivals. Meanwhile, Albanian crossings collapsed, from 12,600 in 2022 to just 626 in 2025. Politicians have scrambled for solutions. The Illegal Migration Act of 2023 promised harsh deterrence. In 2024, the UK launched a border security command to target smuggling gangs. And in 2025, Britain and France agreed to a controversial one-in, one-out deal, returning migrants who arrive illegally, in exchange for taking vetted asylum seekers directly from France. But the boats keep coming. In Britain today, more than 10 million people in the UK, around 16% of the population, were born abroad. London is one of the most diverse cities on earth. In boroughs like Brent or Newham, fewer than 1 in 3 residents are white British. Across the UK, more than 300 languages are spoken in schools. In the north, many small towns are heavily populated by Muslims. Places like Oldham, Bradford, Rochdale, Dewsbury, etc., former mill towns where mosques have replaced the mills. Immigration continues to dominate headlines, from channel crossings to Britain's reliance on overseas doctors and nurses. Nearly 1 in 7 NHS staff is foreign-born. Since 1945, immigration has brought millions to Britain's shores. It rebuilt the country after war, reshaped its culture, and redefined what it means to be British. But it has also sparked tension, fear, and fierce political battles. Immigration has been a savior, a burden, a promise, and for some, a lie. The story is not over. The questions remain. If immigration decides so much about our future, what does democracy mean? What does it mean to be British? Are we destroying our rich heritage as a proud Christian nation? Are the people who immigrate respecting our British values and integrating harmoniously into the British way of life, or do they want to replace our culture with their own? These are some of the questions people have been asking increasingly over the last few decades.